I seek refuge to Allah from Satan who has been rejected. I'm starting this video in the name of Almighty Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. In this video, the video is going to be comprised of a series of videos titled The 10 Greatest Lies Christianity has brought to this world. And we will be discussing the number one on today's video. And that is about the Christian God, Yahweh. It's the Yahweh God Almighty who created the universe and placed every one of us in this world. As some Christian apologists claim, unknowingly, falsely. No. When you study about Yahweh, historically, you found that Yahweh existed in 3500 BCE during the Bronze Age till the 1200 BCE, the Iron Age. Yahweh, we want to say before we go further, now, why is it a lie that Yahweh is not the God of Jesus Christ? In fact, Jesus Christ did not know anything about Yahweh. Why is it common? According to the Bible, Matthew or other Gospels, when Jesus Christ was crucified, at the last hour before he gave his ghost, he said, Ilahi, Ilahi, lima sabachthani. My Lord, why you have forsaken me? You have left me alone. You have abandoned me. Jesus did not call Yahweh. If Jesus had known somebody called Yahweh or God called Yahweh, he would have said Yahweh. And that again is another problem. Because if Jesus called another God, then was he Jesus a God? And then if he Jesus is God Almighty, as some Christians claim, then is he Jesus Yahweh? Was Yahweh? Was he Jesus Yahweh? Then that means Jesus did not know his own name. That's a very, very problematic and not acceptable that no mind can perceive it. But we want to say to you that the Canaanite tribes, you have a lot of Canaanite tribes that worship Yahweh before it become the state god of the Jews. You have the tribes you call the Edomites, you have the Canaanites, you have the Moabites, and you have the Madianites. These were tribes during the Bronze Age in Canaan. They were copper miners. The mine couple. And the Jews were there. They conquered the Jews. The Moabites conquered the Jews were working for them. So they started worshiping their God along with those tribes that we just talk about them. And then that time, Yahweh was not the supreme God of that period. At the Canaanite Pantheon, Yahweh was one of the little God that had no that significant. The chief god was called El. And then you have, he was the god of Scar. And then you have Asherah. Then you have Baal. Then you have Atu, Shamash, and Yahweh. So Yahweh was among gods, many gods that he used to worship. So that's telling her that Yahweh's name is not a name that we know that they didn't tell or anything like this. And it is so bizarre that some of the writers even said that the Muslims believe in what called Yahweh. Jesus did not believe in him. How can a Muslim believe in Yahweh? Yahweh was given authority by El. According to Genesis 4:16, you will see that El gave power. El divided the people that time among the gods. And Israelites The Yahweh was given to the Israelites to be their God, so they took it as their own state God. So in the Iron Age, when they had power, they declared Yahweh to be the universal God of the Israelites. Now, this is the Yahweh that have been conquered, that have been brought to Christianity today. And the Christians say Yahweh is their God. And Yahweh was known to be the God of war. But later, he became creator, he became that, and this and that. So, this false God was concatenated into Christianity, and then the Christians took it unknowingly to themselves. Nobody told them about it. And the Israelites came to say that Yahweh's name was so important that they couldn't call the name. So they gave another name to him, Adonai, and they started calling him that. So, in a nutshell, I want to tell you that the name Yahweh is a pagan God that was accepted in Christianity, and the Christians are looking at it to be their God today. That was being worshipped among other gods, like we may mention. Yahweh is an eastern God, but he was taken to the south. How come? That's another story. We don't want to get too much into the story to make it very long. But we want to tell you that Yahweh, it is not God Almighty, and it shouldn't be worshipped. And those Christian apologists that do not know anything about God, they want to condemn God of Islam, Allah, and they say Yahweh is their God, and Muslims believe in that. That's a blinking lie, unfounded and baseless, and the Muslims do not believe in anything called Yahweh. I saw the debate before between Akikatu and Apples trying to make it to tell Akikatu that why Muslims do not believe in Yahweh. Yahweh is a God. If I were discussing that day with Hippo, I would bring the entire history of Yahweh to Hippo to understand what it is, because they do not read, they don't know where this information comes from, and they want to take it and they take it and start to lie to people about it. We Muslims do not believe in Yahweh to be our God. We believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be our God. So, Yahweh, bringing Yahweh into Christianity and accepting it as a Christian God is one of the biggest lies that the world has received. And we need to debunk it. And again, we are not going to go. We will lead the picture of a Yahweh who was a warrior that fought against, let me say, side by side with the Israelites against their enemies when the Israelites announced that their war with the Mohammedites, that they defeated the Mohammedites, that Yahweh was the God that was fighting side by side with them. And there are a lot of passages in the Bible about that, but we don't want to get into explanation of all this. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is the end of this video. If you like it, press the button like. If you dislike, you can also press the button dislike. And don't forget to leave it to subscribe to the video so you can receive my new videos as I greet in the peace in Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.